So, today we're going to be talking about weight loss. Now, I tried to do this video like 3 times, and the issue is that there's just too much to talk about. I find myself rambling and going on tangents. So, I had an idea, and I thought, you know what? How about I ask ChatGPT what are some common topics that are searched for when it comes to weight loss. And I'll just discuss whatever those topics are. So here we go. When it comes to weight loss, what are some key topics that people seem to be searching for?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
Well, that didn't work out so great. Let's try that again. So, when it comes to weight loss, what are some key topics that people seem to be searching for?
People searching for weight loss information often focus on a few key areas. Diet plans. Many look for specific diets like keto, intermittent fasting, or plant-based diets that might help with weight loss. There's a lot of interest in workouts that are especially effective for burning fat, such as HIIT or strength training. Calorie counting. Tips on how to track calories effectively to maintain a calorie deficit are commonly sought after. Nutritional information. Searches often include which foods to eat or avoid for weight loss. Supplements. Information on fat burners, meal replacement shakes, and other supplements that claim to aid weight loss is also popular. These topics resonate because they offer direct methods and tools that people can use to achieve their weight loss goals.
When it comes to what ChatGPT said, they mention first diet plans. So when it comes to diet plans, we have the diets like, what did it say? They said keto, intermittent fasting, and plant-based. Right? These three, I guess, three key topics people are searching for. When it comes to keto, we could simplify it and say that this is thinking about a type of diet regimen that is going to be first and foremost reducing carbohydrates regardless. Keto is referring to ketosis, getting our body into a type of state where it's using substrates, it's using a specific type of energy that we refer to as ketosis. And this is an energy system we go into when we are, I don't want to say lacking, I guess you could say lacking, that blood sugar that's constantly being ingested, right? Well, you're not ingesting blood sugar, but you're ingesting carbohydrates that end up having an effect on our insulin because it's going to be storing this increased blood sugar into our cells and storing it into the form of glycogen. So glucose gets formed into glycogen. Now, all of this simply means that if we're not using this blood sugar, we're basically storing this blood sugar and we tend to gain weight. Now, another thing to keep in mind when it comes to carbohydrates is on average, when we ingest, let's say, 1 gram of carbs, we're storing more or less 4 grams of water per gram of carb. So we could see how if we cut out carbs, that very fast weight loss that occurs, well, it's just water weight. We're just shedding water. After about 2 weeks, you can see it on the keto, you can see it on the carnivore diets. After about 2 weeks, more or less, it can be different for individuals. We will notice that there's a plateau. Now, with the keto diet and with the carnivore diet, some of the most important aspects about getting on those diets is going to be electrolytes. Because if we're losing a lot of water, this is not great for our health. It's not necessarily dangerous, especially if you have all of those electrolytes, right? So electrolytes, we're talking about sodium, potassium. We could even get in some magnesium, calcium, things like this will help with overall water retention and keep us in a state where we're well hydrated. So keto is really thinking about fat and protein as a main source of energy, which is thought to put us into ketosis. It also is going to be focusing on potential benefits when it comes to insulin sensitivity, right? So if we think about type 2 diabetes, which is the onset of insulin resistance, in short, that means our body is not really utilizing insulin in the manner it should be. So a diet like keto could really help regain that insulin sensitivity. Also, being obese could also have a detrimental correlation to insulin sensitivity, meaning it could also be a factor towards insulin resistance. So when it comes to weight loss, keto, in simple, kind of means we're cutting out carbs and using sources of energy like protein and fat, which tends to have an overall benefit on us when it comes to losing weight. And that quick results that we see is pretty much just shedding water weight. So keep in mind, if you're doing the keto, electrolytes is a primary focus at the beginning. Intermittent fasting. So when it comes to intermittent fasting, there's many things that we could say about this, right? It could be a moment where your body gets too focused on other things other than digesting. It could be, for me, I intermittent fasted when I was in school. And the reasoning for this was, well, I've been intermittent fasting forever, before it was a thing, let's say. And during school, I found it really helped me. It helped me with focus. So I have ADHD, but after trying, I was diagnosed only as an adult. After trying a specific drug for ADHD, it worked, but it was wreaking havoc on my blood pressure. I'm getting old, can't handle this stuff. So I found that intermittent fasting was really good for my brain. And when I mean good for my brain, I just mean it helped me stay focused. I digress because right now, what I'm trying to say is, how could intermittent fasting be good for weight loss? And in simple terms, it's less calories in typically. Supposedly, it also helps with insulin sensitivity. I can see how that could be valid because we're not maybe ingesting as many carbs as before, and we're giving our body the ability to potentially use stored energy. So let's say we intermittent fast, plus we combine that with a workout first thing in the morning, something that causes some adrenaline, depending on the intensity of the workout. If you push your body hard on an intermittent fast or in a fasted state where we most likely have the ability to go into stored energy, which is glycogen, and this could be beneficial when we're trying to lose weight, because when we're trying to lose weight, it would be helpful to go into stored energy opposed to eating something and then using that energy. Now, that is not necessarily beneficial if you're an athlete, right? Because if you're an athlete, the name of the game is performance. But that's another topic. So intermittent fasting, in short, we're restricting calories. We're giving our body the ability to focus on other things. It could be beneficial, supposedly, to helping insulin sensitivity. I think that's intermittent fasting in short. Now, we could also speak about how it has some benefits as far as the whole endocrine system goes. So as far as it has to do with hormones, but we're not going to be talking about that right now. It's just typically intermittent fasting helps us gain some control over our calories in, and also gives us the potential to use stored energy. Then they talked about plant-based. I was plant-based for about, I would say, 3 years. I was running a lot back before I went to school, performing. I was reading that it helps with inflammation. I I didn't find that much performance enhancing to being plant-based. Apart from, there's a lot of carbs when it comes to plant-based. When it comes to endurance sports, if you have a good diet regimen, which means that you're replenishing your glycogen stores, this typically means that your performance is, given that you're practicing, right? Performance is not just nutrition, but it has a big part to do with it. If you're replenishing your glycogen stores, it basically means that you're giving yourself the best ability to perform or practice in the days to come and in the moment, right? Because sometimes my endurance, especially like the ultras, they could last 7 hours. So you really have to be on top of your diet. And in plant-based diets, we're looking at the carbohydrate aspect primarily, at least I was. Protein is obviously very important. So with plant-based, you have to be a little bit more conscientious about how you're going to get your full range of amino acids. I personally find that keto and intermittent fasting for myself and for the clients that I've had experience with, it seems like those end up being the two regimens that really help individuals who are sometimes having a tough time with dropping some weight. Now let's go to the exercise routines. So for the exercise routines, what did they say?
There's a lot of interest in workouts that are especially effective for burning fat, such as HIIT or strength training.
First and foremost, we can't lose fat in a specific area. How it usually works is the places we usually gain first, we usually lose first. That's kind of how it is. And then so get back on topic. So for exercises that help us lose weight. Now, when we do a high intensity training, HIIT, this at an older age, actually, I think throughout many ages, maybe even all ages, let's say all ages, I'll bet on all ages. It's been proven that HIIT is one of the best ways to increase our VO2 max. It's the gold standard when we're looking at overall fitness. The reason why I bring that up is because if we have a healthy, let's say, VO2 max, this most likely will carry over into probably a healthy resting metabolic rate, metabolism, whatnot. And this could be very beneficial. This could be very beneficial for losing weight in the long term and the short term, and also maintaining a strong immune system, a strong metabolism, just staying healthy. We don't only want to be losing weight, but we also want to be healthy, right? Not really synonymous. Strength training is awesome because when we're thinking about aerobic activity, I love it because it's good. It's good for the heart, it's good for the lungs, it's good for circulation. Aerobic activity is great. But it doesn't really stimulate muscle protein synthesis. It does, but not to the same extent that strength training does. I don't want to talk too much science here, but when we're thinking about aerobic training, so it's cardiovascular, I'm not going to start breaking down the heart rate or whatever this means is certain thresholds. Just think aerobic activity. When we're doing this, at a certain intensity, what this will do is it will actually stimulate something called, let's call FOXO, which would be, I don't want to call it the opposite of mTORC, but when I say mTORC, I want you to think muscle protein synthesis, which means growing muscle. And when I say FOXO, I want you to think of inhibiting that. So cardio, basically, I don't want it. It doesn't stop you, but it doesn't give you the best opportunity to be in that state. But it's still important, and we shouldn't ignore it. When it comes to resistance training, that actually stimulates mTORC, which I just defined as something that is crucial for muscle protein synthesis. If we increase muscle protein synthesis, we could increase resting metabolic rate, which means that we have more of a calorie output during the day, which could be very beneficial when it comes to weight loss, when we're thinking calories and metabolism, which is a big proponent aspect of losing weight. Strength training, very good as far as stimulating mTOR, and I just explained all that. And HIIT, very good for VO2 max. Also very good for stimulating muscle protein synthesis as we get older. And then when we think about aerobic, very important. Heart health is important, but maybe not the number one thing we want to be doing when losing weight. But we still want to do long walks, little runs. If you want to warm up when working out, it's suggested to do your cardio before your resistance training opposed to after. Studies have shown that if you're going to do cardio within that session, then do it before, and this could be beneficial to your overall muscle protein synthesis. There's a lot of information here, so if you have any questions, please feel free, and I'll try to address them as best as I can. Calorie counting. So as far as calorie counting, ChatGPT said tips on how to track calories are often searched. Now, when it comes to calories, it's important. I'm not going to get too much into this, but calorie in, calorie out, it's fair to say as far as a topic. If we reduce too many calories, essentially we're telling our body that it doesn't have to burn as much. We're reducing our resting metabolic rate. So we often don't want to reduce more than, let's say, like 100 to 200-ish calories per day, just so we don't have too much of an effect on our resting metabolic rate. But if we're reducing a bit of calories and increasing our resistance training, we're trying to balance our muscle protein synthesis as best as possible. And this could be very beneficial. So calories in, calories out, it makes a big difference. And also where those calories are coming in. So if you're getting it from a very, let's say, healthy fat source, like a piece of salmon, compared to the same amount of calories, but from a chocolate bar, it is not the same. We're going to utilize it. It's a big topic, but in short, it's not the same. Nutritional information. This is a big search. Not what I'm going to cover really right now. Carbs are made to be the enemy, and depending on your diet, they might be your enemy. It's important for us to discuss this maybe at a later date because carbs will have a big correlation to weight gain, and that is something that I've seen with almost 20 years experience in the field and also with a bunch of studies. Carbs could be very much needed in certain situations, but there's also a topic of insulin sensitivity and resistance, and that I feel is almost more important than weight loss, but they're often coupled together. So nutrition is important. I think there's people out there that are much more knowledgeable than I am. I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian, regardless of how many, courses or certificates I've done. This is not my profession, but I definitely have something to say on that. I'll keep that for another time because it's also a really long topic. The last thing they mention is supplements. This one also could be extremely short because they talk, I have it written here, information on fat burners, meal replacement shakes, and other supplements that claim to aid weight loss and is also popular. I'll be super simple. I could do this under 30 seconds, which is extremely rare for me. No, I don't care. It's simple. No, I don't care what you're doing. There are certain supplements that could be beneficial. Do I take protein powder? Yeah, sure. I do, for sure. Daily, sometimes, every other day, sometimes not at all. I'll take protein powder. There's a use for them. But when it comes to weight loss, I don't think anybody should ever get into the situation where they're having a fat burner where you're increasing like your heart contractility and your heart rate, but you're not necessarily working out, so it's not even really in a functional state. It's not healthy for us, without a doubt. I don't even care if it worked. I don't care if people start commenting on like I've had great experience. I don't care. I don't care. It's not healthy. I don't recommend it to any one of my clients. When it comes to protein powders, I think it could be beneficial. After your workout, there's not necessarily an anabolic window. We don't have to get in protein right away, but it is beneficial if you're looking to increase your muscle protein synthesis, because when we remember, that term means like muscle gain, I guess you could say, in a very layman's term. But when we work out, we increase muscle protein synthesis. And when we ingest protein, we increase muscle protein synthesis. So if we do those together at a very similar time, like let's say workout resistance training, and then we take like a low protein shake, this will increase overall your muscle protein synthesis quite a bit. And then throughout the day, if you're starting to have well-rounded meals with your protein, you could keep your muscle protein synthesis high. You could try to keep your calories a little bit on the low side, not too low. And this could be very beneficial for weight loss. So it's a little bit of a long-winded video, but thanks to ChatGPT for keeping me as much as possible within certain restrictions, confines, keeping me like in there, keeping me focused. I tend to go on tangents, but hopefully this video has answered some of the questions from what it seems to be some key topics. Now, if you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out. I'm here. And that's it for today. As always, if you want to subscribe, I'm going to constantly be coming up with little fun topics like this. And if you have any ideas that you want me to talk about, send them my way and we'll have a good time. All right. Until next time, stay healthy, stay active, stay hydrated, stay out of trouble. Adios.